They didn't see your worth. Good. That's where your power begins. Because the moment you stop trying to prove yourself, the game changes, silently, permanently. My friends, let's get something straight from the beginning. This one's not going to be gentle, but it will be freeing. Because some of you have been stuck in a mental loop, chasing someone who already let go, begging silently, through effort, through kindness, through constant availability. You tried to be enough for someone who didn't even have the eyes to see gold when it was shining right in front of them. And you're here now, wondering what else you could have done. Let me help you. Nothing. Nothing more needed to be done. They just weren't meant to keep what they couldn't recognize. You ever seen someone toss aside a diamond because they thought it was glass? That's you. And that's them. But here's the twist. Glass doesn't become a diamond just because someone finally realizes its value. A diamond stays a diamond even when buried in dirt, even when ignored. The worth was always there. The problem, they didn't have the clarity to see it. And you, beautifully loyal, wildly giving, you kept handing your soul to someone who couldn't even carry their own. You tried. Oh, you really tried. Texts, forgiveness, silence, patience, maybe even playing it cool when you were breaking inside. But let me ask you something, folks. How long do you keep watering a plant that's already dead? You poured your time, love, and energy into something that gave nothing back. And now, here's the truth. You're not the fool for loving. They're the fool for wasting it. Here's the lie we were fed. If you try hard enough, they'll come around. But love is not a prize for suffering. It's not a reward for loyalty. You don't earn love by breaking yourself to fix someone else. And if you have to beg for the bare minimum, that ain't love, my friend. That's emotional starvation. It's funny, isn't it? We chase people who couldn't even hold a conversation with our healed selves. We cry over people who wouldn't survive 10 minutes in our peace. But the real shift happens the day you stop asking, what did I do wrong? And start asking, why was I willing to stay where I was being broken? You see, detachment isn't you giving up. It's you finally waking up. And when you walk away without a scene, without needing to prove anything, that's when the magic begins. It's like deleting an app that kept crashing your system. Your mind suddenly has space. Your soul gets its color back. Your glow? Oh, it returns. Loudly, quietly, in all the right ways. Folks, listen. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't making them miss you. It's becoming someone they'll never access again. You won't even need to post about it. Just walk into your peace, and trust me, the silence will do all the talking. There's a quote I want you to write on your mirror, your heart, and maybe even the comment section. Don't light yourself on fire to keep someone warm who'd leave you in the cold. Let it sink in. Let it cut. Then let it heal. And hey, this ain't about bitterness. This is about brilliance. You don't glow to make them jealous. You glow because your peace is your birthright. You don't need to scream, "Look at me now." The healed you will be so loud, they'll feel it in their chest every time your name gets mentioned. That's the Stoic trick, folks. Don't chase, don't explain, just rise. Say it with me. I choose peace. Type it in the comments to lock it in. Let the world know you're not begging anymore. Press that like button if you're ready to let go without looking back. Subscribe if you're done giving your soul to people who weren't ready for it. And stay with me, because what's coming next? It's going to change the way you love, forever. Number 1. The power of the silent exit. Begging never worked. Silence always does. That line hits, doesn't it? Because deep down, you already knew. You just didn't want it to be true. You kept hoping maybe, just maybe, this time your words would land differently. That if you explained just right, if you showed enough love, stayed long enough, gave more than you were even receiving, they'd finally get it. They'd finally see you. But my friends, here's the brutal truth. If someone can ignore your voice when you're pouring your soul out, they were never listening in the first place. And sometimes the loudest statement you'll ever make is your silence. Let me give you a picture. Imagine someone playing your favorite song over and over. At first, it lights you up. You dance to it. You sing along. But after a while, if you keep hearing it on repeat without pause, you stop noticing it. You tune it out. It becomes background noise. And when it suddenly stops playing, that silence, that's when you finally notice how loud it once was. That's what your exit does. You've been showing up for them every single day, with presence, with care, with hope. But they started treating you like a background track. And now you're about to hit mute. That's when they'll finally hear what they lost. I know what you're thinking. But what if they forget me? What if walking away makes them move on faster? What if I become nothing to them? And I get it, because fear is a funny liar. It whispers in your ear that disappearing means you didn't matter. But let me break that lie right now. You don't become invisible by walking away. You become unforgettable by knowing when to leave. People always remember the ones who left quietly, gracefully, without drama. Just absence. No explanation. No tantrum. No final text at 2 a.m. Just gone. You don't have to set the house on fire to leave it. You just stop showing up to feed the flame. And that's what scares them the most. Not the noise, but the silence that echoes when you stop being there. You want to know why the silent exit works? Because energy never lies. The moment you detach, they feel it. You're not just pulling back your words, you're pulling back your presence, your essence. That feeling they got when your name lit up their phone, that comfort they didn't appreciate, that safety they took for granted. You stop feeding it, and suddenly they're starving. But this time, you're not the meal anymore. And look, I'm not going to pretend this is easy. This isn't some cold, heartless move. This is hard. This takes real courage. Because silence doesn't just affect them, it shakes you too. You'll want to reach out. You'll feel the urge to explain. You'll wonder if they're thinking about you. You'll pick up your phone 100 times and tell yourself it's just closure you're after. But let me ask you this. When has closure ever come from someone who couldn't even give you clarity? The truth is, most people don't fear losing someone. They fear not being missed when they're gone. But my friend, you will be missed. Not right away, maybe. Not while they're distracted or running on ego. But eventually, when the rush fades, when the noise dies down and the silence gets heavy, they'll remember. They'll remember how you made them feel, how you never needed them, but chose them. And that choice, that's what they'll cry over. See, rejection is not the ending, it's the redirection, a divine detour. And if you trust the process, the version of you who walks away in silence becomes the version who doesn't chase love anymore. They attract it. They radiate peace so strongly, the right people are drawn to it, and the wrong ones feel unworthy to return. That's the beauty of the silent exit. It's not just a goodbye to them, it's a welcome home to yourself. There's a quote I want you to remember every time you feel weak, every time you think about reaching out, every time you start to doubt the power of your silence. Your absence will teach them what your presence never could. Let that one marinate, because some people only understand your value when it's no longer available. And you, my friend, are no longer on clearance. This journey you're on, it's not about ego. It's not about making them pay. It's about reclaiming what you forgot was yours. Your peace, your self-worth, your energy. You were giving it away like it was candy, hoping someone would finally take enough to love you back. But now you realize, love isn't about how much you give. It's about what you keep for yourself until the right person comes along who can match your depth. Some of you are scared to let go because you think silence means loneliness. But real silence, the kind that comes after letting go of chaos, that's not loneliness. That's healing. That's freedom. That's where you find yourself again. The silence isn't empty. It's full of everything you forgot you needed. So now, here's the shift. You don't beg. You don't explain. You don't perform. You exit. With presence, with power, and with peace. Because nothing screams strength like choosing yourself in a world that taught you to choose others to feel worthy. Say it out loud with me. I choose silent power. Write that in the comments right now. Show yourself you're done with crumbs. Show them they lost someone real. Show the world that you're not looking back. Press that like button if you're ready to move in silence, and let your absence make the noise. Subscribe if you're done chasing and finally stepping into your full value. And stay with me, because what's coming next? Oh, we're not even close to done. We're just warming up. The next shift, it'll shake everything you thought you knew about desire, control, and how the moment you let go, they begin to fall. Number 2, you stop chasing, they start wondering. People notice absence louder than presence. Ain't that the truth? You could show up every day, give your all, send good morning texts, check in when they're quiet, support their dreams more than they do, and still they might not see you. But the moment you stop, the moment your name stops popping up, the moment your energy disappears from their world, that's when something starts to itch inside them. That's when the wondering begins. It's wild, isn't it? You were once the constant, the giver, the one who cared even when it wasn't returned. And they got used to it, took it for granted, treated your love like background noise, always there, always predictable. But here's what they forgot. Even the most patient soul has a limit. Even the warmest light can burn out when the room gets too cold. And when you finally stop chasing, you change the weather. Let me break it down. Attraction doesn't grow in neediness. It suffocates there. When someone senses that you're scared to lose them, they stop valuing your presence. It's human nature. We're wired to want what we believe we could lose, not what we know will never leave. When you chase, they relax. When you pull back, they panic. Not because you're playing games, but because energy doesn't lie. You're not threatening to walk away. You're just done talking to a wall. Imagine this. You're pouring water into a glass, over and over, every day a little more. But the glass is cracked. It never fills. And one day you stop pouring. You set the jug down. And now they're left holding this empty glass, suddenly wondering why it's dry. That's what happens when you let go. They feel the drought. and it makes them thirsty in a way your presence never could. Some folks will ask, but won't they just forget me? Won't they move on faster if I walk away? And that's the fear talking. That's your heart still hoping that love has to come from effort. But let me be clear. You're not disappearing to punish them. You're disappearing to protect yourself. And funny enough, that protection, it's exactly what makes them look back. You're not punishing them. You're inviting karma. And trust me, karma has a sharper memory than any message you could have sent. This is how the shift begins. The same person who rolled their eyes at your honesty now rereads old texts. The same one who thought they had you figured out starts checking your stories. The same one who once delayed replying now starts wondering who else might be getting your attention. That's the power of no longer being available, of no longer asking, "Do you still want me?" and instead saying nothing at all. It's funny how silence becomes your best strategy, not out of spite, but out of sanity, because chasing someone who's running away only leads you in circles. But the moment you stop chasing, you break the cycle. You plant your feet, you take your power back, and you let them do what they never expected. You let them sit with your absence, and it will hit them. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but one day they'll feel it. It'll creep up at midnight when their phone's dry. It'll show up when they laugh and you're not there to hear it. It'll echo in the empty spaces where your presence used to be their comfort. You don't have to force that moment. It arrives all on its own. Now, this isn't about becoming cold. This isn't about withholding love to manipulate. It's about detachment, the quiet confidence that says, "I don't need you to validate me. I wanted you, but I don't chase what chooses to walk away." That energy, that's rare, that's powerful, that's magnetic. So here's the deal, folks. Stop wondering if they miss you yet. Stop checking who viewed your story. Stop hoping they'll get it one day. Just shift from seeking to standing still, from effort to elegance. Let your silence ask the question they never saw coming. Now that I'm gone, do you see what you lost? And while they wonder, while they replay memories, while they silently panic about who you might be talking to now, you glow, you grow, you build. You become the version of yourself they couldn't meet because they were too busy thinking you'd never leave. Say it with me. I let them wonder. Write it in the comments right now. Let it be your energy. Let it be your clarity. Let it be the echo that stays with them long after the chase ends. And stay with me, because next, we're diving deeper into what they're hiding, into the pain they won't admit, into how they pretend they're fine, but it's eating them alive. You ready? Let's go. Number 3. They're suffering too, they just hide better. The ones who look the happiest after rejecting you often cry in secret. Yeah, let that one settle in your chest for a second, because on the surface, it looks like they're doing great. Posting selfies, laughing in stories, out with friends, living their best life, right? But here's the thing, my friends, Instagram ain't therapy, and a highlight reel is not a healing journey. Just because they're loud with their joy doesn't mean they're not whispering pain to their pillow when no one's watching. You think they're not hurting? You think they walked away from you without a scratch? Nah. People don't reject deep connections without feeling the sting later, but they hide it. They cover it up with distractions, rebounds, fake confidence. They try to flex through the ache. But rejection, it doesn't settle clean. Not when it was real. not when it was something they took for granted. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine throwing a stone into a calm lake. The splash is loud, it's messy, but the ripples, they last longer than the sound. That's what happens when they walk away from someone who genuinely cared. At first, they feel relief, like tossing weight off their shoulders. But then, the ripples start. The silence, the stillness, the questions. And those ripples, they're not going anywhere. There's a psychological shift that happens. First, it's relief. I'm free. Then it turns into curiosity. I wonder what they're doing. And if you've really detached, it turns into obsession. Why are they glowing without me? That's the pattern. That's the process. And it's real, because the ego might have rejected you, but the soul felt your absence. Don't let the performance fool you. People wear "I'm fine" like a designer jacket, but underneath it, broken buttons, torn seams. They're falling apart trying to hold the illusion together. You're not the only one who felt the connection. You're just the one who had the courage to feel it honestly. They played cool. You played real. And now they're haunted by the fact that they pushed away the one person who showed up with truth. You think they don't remember your laugh? Your scent? The way you used to say their name like it meant something? You think they don't feel the silence when their phone lights up and it's not you? They do. They just don't know how to sit with it. So they run from feeling, from memory, from the truth that maybe, just maybe, they messed up. And here's where Stoicism comes in, my friends, because you don't need to see their pain to believe it exists. You don't need closure. You don't need their apology. You don't need a public breakdown to know your absence hits harder than your presence ever did. Stoic truth says, if someone rejects you, let them. But don't assume their calm means contentment. You've got no idea what goes on behind those screens, behind those eyes, behind that fake laughter. Some of you are still caught in the cycle of checking on them, watching what they post, wondering if they've moved on. But let me flip that for you. They're doing the same. They're stalking your peace. They're replaying your silence. They're analyzing your glow-up like it's a riddle they can't solve. You became the mystery they thought they figured out too soon. That's what regret does. It creeps in, slow, like fog, and when it settles, it blinds them, and all they have left is memory of someone who showed up, who gave love freely, who only ever wanted honesty. But instead of cherishing that, they chose confusion, and now they're the ones living with it. So don't get it twisted. Just because they're not texting you paragraphs at 2 a.m. doesn't mean they're not breaking down in their own way. Some people cry through silence, through reckless choices, through overcompensation, and when they smile at the world. It's not confidence, it's camouflage. Let them hide. That's their path. Yours is different now. Yours is stillness, confidence, presence. You're not chasing proof that they miss you. You're becoming someone they no longer recognize, but still can't stop thinking about. So say this out loud. They feel it too. Type it in the comments if you're done believing the lie that you were the only one hurting. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're not fooled by filters and fake flexing. And stay with me, because next we go into the shift where everything flips. When you stop needing closure and start becoming the version they'll never get back. That's when the game ends for them and begins for you. Number 4. Mirror work. Become who they can't replace. The goal isn't to make them miss you. The goal is to evolve so far they no longer qualify. That one cuts deep, doesn't it? Because so many of us are out here waiting, watching, hoping they finally realize what they lost. But here's the shift, my friends. The real power move isn't getting them back. It's becoming someone they could never get back. Not because you're playing games, but because you've outgrown the version of yourself who tolerated their bare minimum. You want to heal? Stand in front of a mirror, not just to see what's on the outside, but to meet the person who gave too much, forgave too fast, and settled too low. That version of you, the one who begged, overgave, stayed too long, that version doesn't need revenge. It needs rebirth. This is the phase they don't talk about, the silent glow-up, the one where you're not showing off, but showing up, where you're no longer editing yourself to be likable, where you stop dressing down your personality to be digestible. This is where it gets good, where healing turns into elevation, where you stop looking for signs from them and start becoming a sign to the world of what happens when someone finally chooses themselves. You see, they rejected you based on an outdated version. That wasn't even your final form. They saw you in survival mode, in confusion, in your insecure season. But what they didn't expect, what they couldn't prepare for, is the version of you that walks out of that mess with standards, silence, and a spine made of fire. You level up not to impress them, but to bury them in a reality where you're no longer accessible. That's poetic justice, not slashing their tires, not throwing subs on social media, but becoming so at peace, so focused, so evolved, that even if they showed up at your doorstep tomorrow, all dressed up with an apology in hand, it still wouldn't be enough. Because it's not about revenge. It's about replacement of identity, replacing the version of yourself that needed validation with the one who commands respect just by existing. And don't get it twisted. This isn't just about hitting the gym or buying new clothes. Though hey, go ahead and do that if it makes you feel alive. This is deeper. This is the internal mirror work, asking the hard questions, holding yourself accountable, cleaning up the chaos they left behind inside you, healing the parts of you that attracted them in the first place. Not blaming yourself, but upgrading the software so that next time your system rejects that kind of low energy before it even gets in. Let me give you a visual. Imagine you were a key and they were a lock. For a while, you twisted yourself into shapes just to fit, bent yourself into silence, shrunk your dreams, smiled when you were breaking. But now you've melted that key down and reforged it into something priceless. And that old lock, it could never hold you again. Not because you don't fit, but because you've become something too rare to be contained. That's what this is about. Becoming irreplaceable, not in their life, but in your own. Becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to post their peace because it radiates off them. The kind of soul that doesn't beg to be loved because they are love. That version of you? Oh, they'd choke on their regret if they met you today. So stop asking if they miss you. Start asking if you miss the old you. Because if you don't evolve, they'll always feel within reach. But when you level up from soul to spirit, when your glow is powered by discipline, when your energy is curated not by trauma, but by truth, that's when you become untouchable. Say it with me. I outgrow, not chase. Drop it in the comments. Let it be your reminder. Let it be your declaration. Show them without saying a word. Show yourself in every mirror you walk past, and show the world what happens when someone stops trying to be chosen and starts choosing themselves. Number 5. The reverse test. Watch how they react to your detachment. They tested your loyalty. Now test their memory. Funny how that works, right? When you were available, consistent, loyal to the core, they pushed, they pulled away, they got distant, they got weird. Suddenly they were busy, suddenly they were confused, suddenly they weren't sure if they were ready. But now that you're quiet, centered, unbothered, they're starting to flinch. That's not coincidence, my friend. That's the reverse test in motion. See, they tested you to see if you'd break, to see how far they could stretch your heart without it snapping. They tested your patience, your forgiveness, your silence. Some of you went through emotional gymnastics, trying to prove you were worth keeping. And what did it get you? Breadcrumbs, confusion, being benched while they explored options. But here's where everything flips. You stop trying, you stop needing, you stop chasing, and suddenly, they don't know what to do. Let's talk about human psychology for a second. When someone senses you're emotionally dependent on them, it triggers a kind of subconscious comfort in them. They know they've got you, that you'll wait, that you'll forgive, that no matter what, you'll be there. But the moment that energy disappears, the moment they feel your detachment, oh, it hits something primal. It's like emotional survival instinct kicks in. They start asking themselves, wait, did I lose them? Not because you screamed, not because you posted some cryptic quote, but because you've gone still. Your energy no longer leans forward, it leans inward. And that shift? That's what makes them panic. Imagine you're in a room where a fan has been blowing non-stop. You get used to the sound, you tune it out. But the moment that fan shuts off, it's quiet, too quiet. That silence feels weird. That's your absence now. They were so used to the constant flow of your attention, your presence, your checking in. And now, nothing. No call, no good morning, no just thinking of you. And that absence is screaming louder than your words ever did. And here's the part they didn't prepare for. They start needing you because you no longer need them. You see, neediness is repelling. It signals imbalance. But detachment is magnetic. When someone realizes they can't control how you feel about them anymore, they lose the power they thought they had. And humans, we're wired to chase what we feel slipping away. This is the reverse test. Not because you're playing games, but because you're done being a contestant. You're watching now, observing, letting the silence speak for you. You're not angry, you're just not available. And that calm detachment, it messes with them more than any argument ever could. They start getting curious. They start remembering your laugh, your loyalty, the way you loved without needing anything but honesty. And here's the paradox that really burns. They start missing the version of you they refused to appreciate when it was free. Now they're on the outside looking in, wondering if someone else is getting what they once took for granted. You ever notice how when you stop texting, they suddenly pop back up? Hey, stranger, I was thinking about you. Hope you're doing good. That's not random. That's them checking to see if they still have access. That's them trying to reopen a door you've quietly locked. But don't be fooled, my friend. This isn't your cue to run back. This is your chance to observe, because the test has reversed. And now, it's not about whether you're loyal, it's about whether they ever deserved it in the first place. Don't get cocky. Get clear. Don't react. Reflect. Because if they can't handle your peace, they were never worthy of your presence. If your silence makes them squirm, that's on them. You're not withholding. You're protecting. You're not punishing. You're prioritizing. Say it with me. I watch. I wait. Type it in the comments. Make it your mantra. Let them chase their memory of you while you build your future. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world. This is what it looks like when someone walks in their power. Number 6. Emotional alchemy. Turning pain into power. You wanted closure? Stoics create it internally. No calls, no texts, no breakdowns. Let that hit, because this is where most people break. Right here, this need for closure, for one last conversation, one final explanation, one clean goodbye that'll somehow stitch up the wounds left behind. But, my friends, closure isn't something they give you. It's something you create the moment you decide to stop bleeding for someone who never brought a bandage. You've been trained to think healing comes with a bow on top, that they'll suddenly wake up, send that perfect message, admit they were wrong, say all the words you were begging to hear. But let me hit you with something real. If they didn't give you peace while they had access to you, they're not about to hand it to you now that you've walked away. That's not closure. That's false hope. And this is where Stoicism flips the script. Because while the world's out here telling you to get answers, to speak your truth, to make them see what they did, the Stoic path is different. The Stoic path says, no reaction is the highest reaction. The Stoic path says, I don't need your permission to move forward. You're not calling. You're not sending that long text. You're not waiting for an apology that may never come. Because you've realized something deeper. Closure doesn't come from contact. It comes from clarity. And that clarity, it's forged in fire, in the silence, in the nights you wanted to scream, but chose to breathe instead. That's where your power begins. Imagine pain like raw energy, chaotic, heavy, wild. Most people either suppress it or explode with it. But Stoics transmute it. That's emotional alchemy, taking the hurt and turning it into hunger, taking the betrayal and turning it into boundaries, taking the heartbreak and turning it into higher standards. This isn't about healing just to move on. It's not about bouncing back for the next person. It's about rising so high that you're unrecognizable to the version of you that once begged to be chosen. You're not healing to get back out there. You're healing to become so whole that love stops being something you chase and starts being something you attract by default. You ever see gold go through fire? It doesn't melt into weakness. It melts into purity. That's what your pain is doing to you right now. It's burning off the parts of you that tolerated crumbs, that kept quiet when your soul screamed for more, that held on out of fear instead of power. You're being refined, not destroyed. Let me ask you something. Do you really want closure, or do you want contact? Because most people don't want peace. They want a response. They want to be seen, heard, validated. But here's the truth. If someone's absence gives you more peace than their presence ever did, that's your closure. You don't need a text to confirm it. You just need the strength to sit with the truth. And I won't lie to you, this part is brutal. The healing, the silence, the waiting for that itch to fade. But this is where the shift happens, where pain becomes fuel, where grief becomes growth, where you stop checking their status and start checking your standards, where you stop looking back and finally start looking within. This isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about caring so much for yourself that you refuse to bleed out for someone who can't even hand you a bandage. That kind of self-respect, that's rare, that's sacred. And that's what will carry you through. So take all that pain and repurpose it. Use it to wake up earlier, to build your body, to build your mind, to chase your dreams like your heart depends on it, because it does. They took pieces of you? Cool. Now go build something they could never be part of. That's how you win. Not by revenge, not by response, but by resurrection. Say it with me. I heal to rise. Type it in the comments right now. Let it be your daily mantra. Show the world that your peace is no longer negotiable. Show yourself that your pain was not the ending. It was the evolution. Number 7. The regret curve, when it finally hits them. It won't hit right away, but one day it will. And that's what most people don't understand. Regret isn't instant. It's not loud. It doesn't arrive in a dramatic scene with tears and apologies. No, my friends, regret is slow. Regret is quiet. And when it hits like a freight train. But by the time it does, you're already gone. Healed, elevated, unreachable. At first, they'll feel free, light, relieved even. You're not blowing up their phone. You're not asking for clarity. You're not orbiting their world anymore. So they assume you've just faded into the background, like everyone else they've discarded before. And they go on, posting, laughing, pretending, living in that initial wave of ego where they tell themselves they made the right call, that they didn't really lose anything. But weeks go by, then months, and something strange starts happening. Your energy, it doesn't return. Your silence, it doesn't break. You don't check in. You don't circle back. You don't come crawling for closure. And that's when it starts creeping in. That's when the regret curve begins. Let me paint the picture. One night, they're scrolling. No particular reason, and your face pops up. Maybe it's a photo, a story, a mention from a mutual friend. But it hits them different now. You look lighter, calmer, glowing in a way they never saw when they had you. Because back then, your light was dimmed from trying to prove your worth. But now, you shine with the peace of someone who no longer needs to be chosen to feel valuable. And then, the questions come. How are they doing better without me? Why aren't they trying to talk to me anymore? Who are they talking to now? They won't ask you directly, of course. Pride won't let them. But they'll wonder. They'll overthink. They'll start replaying old memories like home movies they suddenly wish they'd paid more attention to. That time you stayed when you should have walked. That conversation you tried to have that they dismissed. The way you loved them so purely, and they treated it like it was replaceable. And here's the twist. You didn't get revenge. You didn't lash out. You didn't fight dirty. You just disappeared and evolved. You did what they never saw coming. You moved on with grace. And that haunts harder than any angry goodbye ever could. See, the regret doesn't just come from losing you. It comes from realizing they lost someone who didn't even retaliate, just rose. That your glow-up wasn't for attention. It was sacred. That your absence wasn't a game. It was permanent. And now they're faced with the most painful realization of all. They were the villain in a story where you were only trying to love them. This is what the regret curve looks like. It doesn't always come with apologies. It won't always show up with a text saying, "You were right." Sometimes it's just silence from their end too, but this time filled with weight. Sometimes it's the pause when someone says your name, the look in their eyes when they realize they won't ever get that version of you again. And let's be real, they didn't expect to miss you. Not really. They thought you'd always be around, that they could come back whenever, say a few sweet things, and slide right back into your life. But not this time, because this version of you, they don't have the password anymore. You changed the locks. Now you're walking different, talking different, loving yourself harder, setting boundaries like stone, and they're stuck watching from a distance, wishing they could go back, but knowing they burned the bridge with their own hands. Let them regret. Let them sit in it. That's not your weight to carry anymore. You did your part. You showed love. You gave chances. And when it wasn't respected, you left with your dignity intact. That's the most poetic ending they never saw coming. Say it with me. I became unforgettable. Type it in the comments. Claim it. Let it be the echo that fills their silence. So here's the truth, my friends. When you stop chasing, when you walk in silence, when you evolve beyond who they once knew, everything changes. You don't need revenge. You don't need closure. You are the lesson. Let them feel it. Let them regret it. And you rise. If this spoke to your soul, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs this truth, and don't forget to subscribe for more hard-hitting clarity. Drop a comment below saying, "I choose power to claim your peace." Stay strong, and I will see you in the next video.